Welcome, everybody, to our Monday night empowerment session. I'm excited with the change of the seasons coming up. In fact, tomorrow is the first day of fall. And tonight we're going to be focusing on adaptogens and your defense system. As you know, I am very excited to have opportunities to educate you so that you can help make better decisions that work for your health and being able to move forward and hopefully as a more informed person. So let's just jump right in and start this off with a testimony.
Hi everybody, Cheryl Gallagher, and Valerie asked me to talk a little bit about what soul products that I choose when I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, and I will tell you that I've been using soul products for 5 years or so now, and I am so much healthier because of them. I used to lose my voice every wintertime, and I would just hope that it was after Christmas so that I could still sing with the choir at Christmas time, all that that fun Christmas music you want to sing. And I would get a couple sinus infections each year and have a lot of just congestion and some drainage. Most of my sick always centers around here. I don't usually feel much sick, in the rest of the area, but I know when I'm on the soul products, I have not lost my voice since I've been taking them, and I don't think I've had a sinus infection either. So that's wonderful. But once in a while, I will get a little, feel a little bit under the weather. So lots of times for me, it comes during the night. And so I'll wake up and I'll have a sort of scratchiness in my throat, just kind of, just doesn't feel quite right. I will get up out of bed. I will come into the kitchen and I will take 3 Soul Clear SIs. And then I'll go back to bed. And then when I wake up in the morning, voila, it's gone. It never developed into anything. And for me, that's fabulous, because then I just can go about my day and be normal. I am a very bad patient when I'm sick. I don't like to feel under the weather or sick. I like to operate full 100%, and because I'm a very busy person. Another thing I do, about a month ago, I ended up with a sore throat, and it came out of nowhere. I had no other symptoms, no drainage, no headache, no temperature, nothing, no congestion. It just right here in my sore throat, and my nodes, my lymph glands right here, they were so swollen, and it was really painful to swallow. It was not a fun experience. And I thought, well, what can I do? And so I doubled up my drinks, which I will also do anytime I'm feeling a little rundown. I'll double my Vital, double my Renew, and I'll do probably at least 3 to 4 Cinemates a day. I don't do Excel probably as much as I should, but I'll throw that in if I think I need it. And then I will use the oils as well. I will take the Compass blends. My favorites are the Comfort and the yellow one, Confidence. And I will rub those. And that's what I did when I had the swollen glands. I just rubbed it right on the glands right here and right here. And the relief, it felt really good. And I know it helped the healing, along with doubling up on my drinks, because I feel like I just want to give my body that extra boost it needs to fight off what's trying to get a hold of me. So those are, and then I will also diffuse the oils. I will use the personal spa oils for that. Sometimes I use all 4. Sometimes I just use I always use the Clarify, though. If I feel like it's sickness I'm trying to combat, I'll always add in the Clarify and the Lymph, usually, for sure. And then the others, if I think I need them in there. But those are the main things that I go to when I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, and they always come through for me. I have not had to go to the doctor for being sick, honestly, since I've been on the Soul. So that's wonderful. Have a great night, ladies. Bye.
This was a testimony that I had gotten from Cheryl in the past, and it was so spot on for what I want to talk about tonight with the immune system and the immune starter kit and she covered several things that are in there. So I thought this was great. So let's look back, several years ago. And honestly, this has happened to me many times, but there was a young lady who had grown up around me. And so here in Kansas, she's known me for about 23 years. And a couple of years ago, she asked me, she said, Valerie, why is it you're never sick? In fact, I'm convinced that you never get sick, which of course was a perfect opportunity for me to share with her why that is. And a lot of that, the majority of that now has to do with soul. So we're going to look into that a little bit deeper. So there's something out there called germ theory and something called terrain theory. So basically, in germ theory, people believe that the germ is what makes you sick. In terrain theory, they believe that you get sick if you have a weakened immune system. So if you have a stronger immune system, then you're not going to get sick as easily because your body can better defend itself. And so that's what the difference is between the two. The germ theory, one of the, to me, the concerns when you think that direction is that you don't have power or control over whether or not you get ill. There's nothing you can do. You are the victim, so to speak. But in terrain theory, you have all kinds of different things that you can control in order to strengthen that immune system so that you have a better opportunity to defend yourself. So what does that look like? What it looks like is drinking plenty of water. Water, everyone knows, or at least we talk about it quite a bit, the importance of water with keeping your system flowing well and cleaning. And, whenever I ask people how much water they drink, they will ask me, does tea count? Does coffee count? Well, my answer has always been, if I give you a bucket of tea and a bucket of water, which one are you going to mop the kitchen floor with? And they inevitably always answer, the water. And the reason is the water can still pick up dirt. Your water that's been put in with the coffee or the water that's been put in with the tea, it's already saturated. It's already carrying something. So it cannot so easily get in and, it'll pick up some stuff, but it's not going to leave the floor as clean as it is with water. And of course, everyone knows how much I love and use the Bella Health program on a daily basis. I'm such a big believer in that. And so that's getting that core nutrition in there. And then we talk about having plenty of good sleep. Sleep is so important in order to support that good terrain. Same with movement. Eating as healthy as you can. Making certain that the bowels or the trains are moving out of the body, that so otherwise we want that outhouse in use. All these things combined together to help do something that should look very familiar to you. If we look at this tree up here, you guys have seen me teach how that represents the body. If we work on the roots and feed that foundation, that the expression is a much healthier tree. So what does that look like and correlate with? It looks like drinking plenty of water, getting your core foundational products in for soul, getting your sleep, getting movement, eating, making good, healthy eating choices, and making sure that those bowels are moving. So that right there answered why this young girl, well, she's not young, she's in her 30s now, why she never saw me sick. Because I was doing all those things, but also I have learned that the moment I start to feel the slightest bit off, I reach for certain products. And right now, tonight, we're focusing on the products that are in the Immunity Starter Kit. So starting with the Soul Clear SI. So when I was a child, I got earaches all the time. It was the bane of my existence. I was miserable. It just was no fun. So if I start to even feel the hint of an achiness in my throat or stuffiness in my ear canal, I reach for the Soul Clear SI. And if I am on it immediately, it moves out. Even if I'm a delayed and away from it and can't get to it till later in the day, maybe I'm in town, I can still take care of it within hours. Sore throat, sinus, that congestion up there, just that general achiness. For me, I also notice I'll feel a little bit off, or I'm getting run down. This is when I reach for the SI. Runny nose, inflammation, and cough. In fact, if I have used to always notice that the base of my skull right down below the occipitals, it would swell up there. And it was, even when I would go to a chiropractor, it wouldn't stay in place because the swelling or the inflammation was there. And it was always an indicator that the body was off or maybe working towards getting sick. So I have learned that Soul Clear SI, if any of these symptoms show up for me, and like I don't miss any time, I don't hesitate at all. I reach for it, I take it, and I knock it out. And so this was kind of interesting because I was trying to take a different approach here for these products. It's like, okay, what do I notice? What do I take this for personally? And I realized some of these you guys just might not think of or realize that the body was shifting because some of them are so slight, but that's how I notice. And that's how I keep it from going more than that. Again, rundown for me is a big one. I notice rundown and adaptogens because stress is one of the things that can run me down, or as I push myself hard and do so much. I know the adaptogens in these products will bounce me back. In the Soul Clear SI, that Suma is a game changer for me. The Cinnamate, we've got the yerba mate in there, and all the, if you remember, Greg talked about how many vitamins and minerals and such dense nutrition is in that, that can really beef up the system and help it to be able to deal with what's going on. The sore throat, I use that for a sore throat. And if I have been around any type of viral exposure, we're going to remember the cinnamon, the thyme that is in there. Those are very good antiviral with their properties. And the combination, as we know, the synergy of all the plants that we have in each of these products creates a more powerful result than we would with seeing those individually. The Excel is another product that is in the immunity starter kit. Swollen lymph nodes are a big one for me. In fact, if you're a blue-eyed person, often the lymph nodes will swell up, and that's one of your indicators that the system is kind of overwhelmed. Remember, our lymph nodes are involved, our lymphatics are involved with moving things out. Now, if you've had your tonsils or adenoids removed, that's kind of like removing your check engine light, because that is an indicator that something's going on. When you remove those, it doesn't mean that you've actually gotten rid of the issue. It just means that you no longer have the indicator of what's going on, and it gets driven deeper in the system. So remember, those lymph nodes are all over the body, but the common places that people notice them are going to be on their throat. They might notice them in their armpit, and they might notice them in their groin. Inflammation, again, is general. Sinuses, foggy thinking is another one for me that will show up. And then, of course, general immune support, which really should be said on all of these. But these are the things that I think of. Like if I know I'm going to be around something that I have a little bit of concern in, then I'm going to maybe take some extra Excel for the day. And Excel is a big one for me. And then, of course, our longevity, because it's our plant-based vitamin D3 immune support. And being plant-based makes it so much easier to break down, assimilate, absorb, especially for people who get challenged with breaking down fats. I am one of those people, even though I still have my gallbladder. And that's one reason that I do phenomenal with the D3 as opposed to other forms of D3. Now, a person who's not compromised in that is going to do better anyway, just because it's plant-based and it's easier for the body to use. And we need to remember that D3 has been proven over and over again in research that it is invaluable with how it supports the immune system. And then when we have the NeuroM, which is our 10 mushroom formula, the cough. A lot of people have dealt with a cough, and a cough is one of my indicators too, getting run down. And first will happen to me is my voice has a lower resonance to it. It's deeper, and there's kind of a cough, but it comes out of kind of where the thymus is in my chest. So the NeuroM is something combined with the Soul Clear that can knock that out so quick. In fact, before those two products with Soul, if I got a cough, it could take me weeks of heavy duty herbal approach to get rid of it. Now, I have not had the cough since I got the opportunity to use both these products. Brain fog that comes, that's another thing that will happen for me when I feel a little bit off. Blood sugar. So I have a son that is similar to me like this. And one of the ways that I always knew that one of the challenges he would have when he was sick is he would be so lethargic. And I realized, okay, he's doing better and everything, but his blood sugar had dropped. So once I addressed his blood sugar, he was fine. Well, I'm very similar with that. And so the NeuroM is very good for addressing that. And then, of course, immune support. So as you can see, these are not always the normal things that you would think of for these products, because they have so many other benefits. But because we're focusing on what it has to do with immunity is why I brought it in this way. So let's look at adaptogens and their role with the immune system. Number one, they do assist in all aspects of immune response and in immune recovery and regeneration. So notice that that's quite a powerful abilities that this brings to the table. Also, there was some studies where adaptogens been successfully used to ward off respiratory ailments. And I love this because it's showing as much as a 50% reduction in respiratory illnesses. Lungs have always been a weakness for me, so paying attention to that's important. And in these studies, this isn't just like a study of a couple people. These are studies that were done over years and done with thousands of people. Also, what they found is the more consistent someone was with the adaptogens, otherwise, like we've talked, daily use and having in your protocol, that's where you get even bigger impact. They've also been known to reverse immunosuppression that when it was caused by stress. So, I mean, that is the only thing that I know of at this point that does that. And then the thymus gland, which is very important and tied with your immune system, even if the thymus gland is no longer functioning, then the remainder immune system can step in and take over the production of the T cells. And they believe this is tied also back to adaptogens' ability to help bring the body into balance. So that is very powerful. I kind of like this little joke over here, especially when, in fact, they used to call me nature girl in college because all the herbs that I had in the closet there at college with me. And then the thymus, again, the thymus is right here. It is that kind of orangish colored area. And it is responsible for the immune response, but it also ties into our attitude of what we think. So I thought this was important to share. It does control your immunological defense system. So your adaptive immune system is what it ties back to. It is the key gland for the body's immune system. So very, very important. It also is affected by your thoughts and attitude. I want you to pay attention to this because there are so many different things that can suppress our immune system. Fear is one of them. So how we think and our approach to life makes a big difference. And they've got a study reference in the book here, The Ultimate Healing System. People who feel unloved will often will themselves to become ill subconsciously because by being sick, they often receive sympathy. So it's not, sometimes they consciously think of it, but I've run into this from people in the past where they were so associated with what their illnesses were that it became a defining mechanism for them. So not realizing that they were weakening their immune system and really kind of putting into play the reason they were having a domino effect with one illness after another. And then right here, if you continually amplify your illness, it will stick with you by saying, I have this and this. You weaken your thymus gland and your immune system will also become worse. So that basically is saying what I just said, and this is how he spells it out. So now I'd ask Greg if he would take a few minutes and share about the products that are in the immune starter kit, and if any of those, his experience was those and some of those impact with that. So Greg, do you need me to make you a co-host?
No, thanks, Valerie, but could you put the picture you just had on there? Could you have that be on there while I talk, because that way I can, yeah. I wish you had one without me, but anyway, looking at the package there on the right, I was really happy when Valerie asked me, well, she mentioned she's going to talk about this right now, because obviously right now, this particular package and one that's very similar to it, there's one called, I think, Immune Shield, very, very similar to this package. Really, the difference is you also have an Omnitox, which can be, you could easily add in, but the Immune Shield doesn't have the longevity D3 and the NeuroIM. And in talking with people who are using the other package, guess which two products they're adding? The two that are in this one, the longevity and the neuro, because they play such a key role. So it doesn't, either one of those are great. They just are both really good packages. I love this one. This one was created more recently because by the time this package was created, we had the longevity D3 and the NeuroIM. But I wanted to comment, I just have a couple of comments to add to Valerie's presentation, which, as always, I find fascinating. I could just sit and listen and try to take notes, mental notes, to share with others. But Valerie said something that really I've heard over and over and over in the last few months. She asked me to talk about some testimonials I'm hearing, because I'm connecting in a variety of Zooms, people all over the country, and various teams of leaders. And I got to tell you, there's so much good teaching going on. at Soul. I'm so grateful to be able to plug into the Soul family. This is the kind of knowledge that makes a difference. This, what we're hearing tonight and what I hear in some of the others, if it could be heard by everyone, then what Valerie was talking about at the very last, how our feelings, our fears, our anxieties affect immunity in a huge way, it would change that dynamic and I believe 180 degrees, turn it around. And if we can do that by just offering some education, that old doctor, is it Dr. Oh, I can't remember if it was Dr. Christopher who said this, but in essence, the quote is that I think it's he that receives information and doesn't share it is keeping what doesn't belong to him. And that's, I probably butchered it, but I didn't butcher the essence of it. Valerie probably knows the exact quote. But boy, I believe in that because it changes everything. It has for us. I'm super grateful for the people that have shared this exact information. It has changed how I feel about colds, flus, sicknesses. And I believe we've learned even more in this last year. The point that I wanted to begin with is Valerie's comment about how she manages herself. I wish we could all get to that point. I mean, what did she say? The moment she feels off, she knows what the signs are, where things are a little off. It could be one of two or three things that she mentioned. I think that very often, if we really think about it with ourselves, we're the same way. We can find our 2-3 triggers. I'm not sure, Valerie could probably tell you, maybe they're our weakest points. So our triggers might be somewhat unique. I know that many of them are common among others, but I do recognize much more readily my own triggers and where they start. It's what we do about it and how quickly that makes a difference. So the first thing that I want to say about this starter kit, I heard some advice 2 weeks ago on a Zoom. It was 2 Thursdays ago. And this leader who's living in the South Miami area, lots going on with people talking about pandemic virus and all that. And his comment was this: one thing we can control, back to Valerie's comment about when we think about our terrain, we can control the terrain. His comment was this exact package. Why not have one of them tucked right there in our cabinet? Because then they live in Florida. If you're already feeling where Valerie is talking about, and you now have to wait 5 days for it to arrive, even though you can order it that day and the shipping is free and it gets on its way. But if you live 5 days away, now you're looking at least in today's day and time, if depending on what's going on in your life, you might be looking at the hospital or something like that. And I know that sounds a little bit severe to say that, but it's actually a story that's being played on loop right now. Whereas people that had packages, and let's not just concentrate on what's going on now, that isn't my intent, but think about it in coming years and in past years, whenever I get to that season where it is more common to have flus, when I have these elements right in the cabinet set aside, okay, this package, for example, and I immediately can do what Valerie does and I can start to ramp up. I will tell you exactly what this group's been doing, and they are so well-traveled on this particular pathway right now that they'll tell people, look, if you can do this, over 90% of the time, the people are feeling 2 to 3 days that they are feeling off, and they start to see a turnaround that quickly. The longest they've seen is 5 days. In no case, when they had product that they could increase right away, did it get to the point where they had to go somewhere to get. Now that's just their experience. That isn't something that we claim. I'm simply sharing you what is going on and what they're living right now. And so that's why, where on the other hand, when they've had close friends, good friends, even members of the Soul family, who are using 1 or 2 things, all of a sudden this happens, they hurry up and get on and they get the products ordered and they have to wait 5 days. There have been some cases where it hit them so severe that now they're going to be 2 weeks trying to catch up and recover and everything else. And some of them even had to go in and seek extra help away from home. So I just think the principle that's been taught, this is a really useful package. It's not the only package, but the principle about right when I start to see something, cannot give you the number of how many testimonials I've had. A number of the people have gotten on and shared it, and you know what? None of them says, oh, hey, this cures that. That's the interesting thing. None of them talk that way. What they all say is that I got on this early. I had these products in hand. And what they'll usually say is that the one you see on the far left, the Soul Clear SI, they're taking 2 to 3 every 3 hours. They do that for a day or two, every 3 hours. The longevity, 2 to 4 capsules. Now, again, I'm not sure. It's different for everyone, okay? I was taking 4. When our daughter got some other, it was not the big bad one that everyone's talking about, but it was another just pesky intestinal, and there was cold with it. 4 a day just felt great. And the moment I ramped up, I doubled the longevity in the day, and I doubled my neuro-IM, 2 in the morning and 2 at night. Now, that was just me. It's different with everybody, but the point is they start taking on more than just a 1 a day or twice a day, but on some interval. And the same thing with the packets. With the Cinemate, it was as often as I wanted one, a hot Cinemate, and that was usually 3, somewhere in the 3-ish day of Cinemate, and the same thing for Excel. So now that sounds like a lot, but when a person's feeling something, it's hitting, and I'm jumping on it, they're only doing that for a couple days. And they notice on the 3rd day, a break in the momentum and a return to the good. Now the time is different for everyone, but the principle is, to me, priceless. And this particular group of products is, Valerie's kind of already shown why they're all direct support to different aspects of immunity. And so when you sort of get the group of them, you're really getting quite a balanced approach. The only thing I don't see here is the blue group, is the calm group, but you're getting all 3 of the other categories of soul in there. So I wanted to share that. I hope that wasn't too much, and I sure hope nobody feels like that was like a real strong, like overly strong. But I've just heard it so much, and I've seen the difference it's made, the principle of something like this. I get into fall season or winter, I make sure I've got that extra set. Oh, that's useful for anybody in the house, and I can ramp up, and I've got plenty there to go hard at it for 2-3 days. And boy, I'll choose that over the 10 days. So back to you, Valerie.
Thank you, Greg. And that was very spot on. And I always keep extra, because no matter when, whether it's a cold or flu or a stressor, I want to know that I have what I need to be able to take extra to challenge it. So now let's hear from Tammy Peterson.
Hello, all my soul peeps. How is everybody today? It is freezing in Houston. I just wanted to jump on. Val, thank you for having me. When it comes to when I'm feeling sick, I have a surefire way to make sure it doesn't go any further. I love, and I'll do this a lot of times at nighttime, I will open up 3 to 5 Soul Clear SIs, and I'll open it into either my Renew. If it's at bedtime, I'll put it in my Renew, and together it's so yummy. But if it's not at bedtime, I've got hibiscus tea in bulk, and I mix those 2 together, or I add it to peppermint tea. But there's something about opening them up and putting them in hot water that just does the trick. I almost feel immediately better. A lot of times my stuff starts in my ears and my glands, and it's almost like it just clears them up super quick. So anyway, that's what I've done. It's been a surefire way. If I'm really getting scared, I'm getting sick, I'll do it once or twice. That's not true, not once or twice. I'll do it every hour, like 3 every hour. I'll open them up and put into a hot cup of whatever I love to drink. Okay, I hope that helps everybody. Y'all have a good evening. Bye, and thank you, Val.
Obviously, this was an older testimony because it's not freezing there right now, but it was so spot on that I wanted to make certain that we shared it again. And so I just wanted to say that I'm like Tammy. I love the Soul Clear SI in the cup of hot. I put it in 2 capsules of the Soul Clear SI in a cup of hot cinnamate with 1 neuroam, and I throw in a scoop of Infatuate as well. That is what I have every single morning since we have had all the products. I start out with adding in the Soul Clear SI because we had it first. And then I end up bringing in the Infatuate, and then finally I added in the NeuroAM. And when on the days that I'm unfortunate enough to not have it because we're traveling or somewhere where I can't get what I need, it is not a happy day for me because it is that big of a game changer for me. So again, this is the Immunity Starter Kit. That's what we're talking about. And this is what you hear lots of people, those of us reach for. Some of us are taking these products on a daily basis anyway, but the key is to be able to reach for extra when you start to feel off and have it available to make the difference. So our ending quote for today is, the greatest force of the human body is the natural drive of the body to heal itself. But that force is not independent of the belief system. Everything begins with belief. What we believe is the most powerful option of all, and that's by Norman Cousins. And I just kind of like Greg, and sounds like this is the consensus between a lot of us in this field. This is so important. I cannot underscore this enough. And you're also going to find this is another added benefit from having adaptogens daily. It is easier to keep your belief system pointed the right direction. So next week will be our Soul Business Q&A, and we're going to have a focus on understanding the Soul Prime program a little bit more. So I hope that you will join us. And now for those of you that didn't see me post this earlier today, Soul has the new Soul Pipe available, and I started using that and actually sent out my first group of texts tonight. And if you want to opt in to be able to get those text messages, I'm sending them out about 15 minutes before the Zoom starts. You would want to text the word LEARN to 1-866-256-1970. And I'll leave that up for a second if you want to take a picture of that. This is, I think, going to be a very beneficial way to be able to help get more people on and watching these Zooms. There is the ability when you receive that message, once you open it up, there is a sharing option in the upper right-hand corner. It looks kind of like a Y to me. And when you click on that, you can share it, and whether it's through Messenger or email or through text message, and get maybe other friends or family or people that you think might be interested in that information to watch it. I also added a link that has the recording from the last Zoom that I did on there as well. So you have both the link to join the current one and then a link for the most recent one that I taught.